Just 2 days ago here in this event space, I released 4 new companies that all have billion-dollar plus potential. And I thought, you know what? Let's make a YouTube video and let me share with you some of my business and private equity deals where I'm doing 10 a year, all of them billion-dollar plus potential, because if only 1 or 2 of them land, guess what that means? That means multiple billion-dollar valuation. Let me show you some of those deals right now. One shot, not a future, but sure, let's go. Today, we're gonna be talking about the very best business deals that I've made this year. And it's kind of exciting because one of the things that I've learned in the game of business is that if you launch $1 billion company with potential, you're putting all your eggs in that basket. But if you launch 10 a year and 1 or 2 of them make it, that's how you get there. Every year I'm launching $10 billion plus companies. After a decade, that means that we're launching 100 of them. And we only need maybe 10 to 20 of them to go through to really hit our goals and create value in the world that we want to. Today, I thought I'd share with you a couple of my favorite deals from this year. I want to teach you a principle called asymmetric upside. Asymmetry means the business can go up a ton, but in the worst case scenario, you just lose your money. And so this is a principle that was proliferated largely by the legend Ray Dalio, hedge fund master, that returned like $27 billion to his investors. And here's what he said in a simplistic form. Hey, if I can find 5 companies to invest in that each have 500% potential, then I could take, if I have 500 total to invest, I could put, after I identify the first company with 500% potential, I could put $100 on it. I could put 100 on the second one I find, the third, fourth, and fifth, and let's watch what happens. The first company flops, I lose my $100. It did not grow at 500%, it didn't 5X. The second one flops, the third one flops, the fourth one flops.
When are you gonna give a guy a break?
I've lost $400, and so far we're thinking this is a dumb strategy. But on the 5th and final company, it goes to 500% ROI, which just happens to be turning $100 back into $500. Well, that's just a simplified example. When you start playing with asymmetric upside where there's not 500% returns, but 20,000% upside, well, then the game means that you can lose almost all of the time, but if 1 or 2 of these companies really blast off like a moonshot does, then you're gonna make crazy, crazy amounts of money. And that's why I launch $10 billion plus companies every single year. So let's get started by first talking about finding financial success. Most people, you either own a company or maybe you buy some real estate the way I teach you to, and now you're making hundreds of thousands of dollars. I don't know, maybe you're making $1 million plus a year. And so that's what many people would call financial success. But here's what I want you to know. 90% of millionaires, well, they do it in real estate. 100% of billionaires, they do it in private equity. So at some point, you have to start looking at deals that have way bigger upside, that asymmetry like I was talking about. And when I look at a company that is starting from scratch but has billion-dollar potential, it might flop. The second one might flop. The 7th one might flop. But if 1 or 2 out of the 10 don't flop and they actually really go to their full moonshot, that's what makes everything worthwhile. The first company that I want to talk about is called Property. And I founded this company with Carlos Reyes. And he's been really big the last decade in automating the process of wholesaling. Let me show you what this company does. We look for distressed houses like this that have maybe, I don't know, $100,000 worth of equity in them. And the house is kind of trashed. The people living in it think, I need 50 grand or whatever to like fix this thing up. We don't have the money. So they kind of freeze like deer in the headlights. An investor comes along and says, hey, I get it. You have big problems. You don't have the cash. You don't know how to fix it up. You don't know how to bring it to market. How about I just buy the house cash from you? And the person is going to say, yeah. So what they do is they basically tie it up with a piece of paper, a contract that says, you can buy this at a big discount. Well, the person who did that is called a wholesaler. And what they did is they basically said, I want to make at least 20 grand, but maybe on upwards of $100,000. And I'm going to take this really good deal and I'm just going to go out to the investor community and say, hey, found a sick good deal. Who wants to do the flip on this? And someone's going to snatch it and buy it cash. And when they do, you get the 20 grand, the 50 grand, or maybe $100,000. Well, this is not a new system, but what Property does is it's found a way to automate it. And so here's what we're doing that's different in the game. We're bringing on business partners, and we're basically saying, we'll give you all of the automation so that most of the work is done for you. You just do a little bit of the work, and we'll do an 80-20 split. You get to keep 80% of the money, We keep 20%, but we'll give you all the tools and resources, et cetera, will help you run this business. And we plan on bringing on 1,000 property partners over the next 5 years. 3 years from now, we're looking at an enterprise value over $1 billion because we're the first in the market to bring automation to fix and flipping, but we're also bringing in buy and hold. Normally that's oil and vinegar or oil and water. They don't mix, but they're mixing now. So property, we just did a pre-launch of it. We did millions of dollars in sales. And within the first 9 weeks, our students are crushing it, making 20 grand, 30 grand, 50 grand. One of them made $100,000 on their first deal, which means people are getting their money back. They're pumped, they're excited. This is a really cool company that I think, based on my expertise, 3 years from now, we've got $1 billion plus company on our hands. Okay, the next company I want to tell you about is Thatch. This is a fintech company. That means it's a financial software. And what it basically does is it heals and solves the problem that we have with supply chain in the world today. Like everyone knows since the pandemic that it's like, crap, I order something, I have to wait months to get it. There's this huge backlog and a lack of communication between the brands that make stuff and then the retailers that sell stuff. Well, in that world, there's this new technology called split pay. And what happens is that when a brand builds a lot of stuff, like let's just imagine that, I went to the Super Bowl and I grabbed this football. Let's just say the company that made this, they have to send this out to all the retailers and they're not going to get paid for months. Then eventually they're going to bill the retailers and they're finally going to get paid for this. But there's no data that comes back. They actually don't know how many of them sold, how quickly, over what period of time, did you run out, did you need more? And so brands are still living in this archaic world where they're flying like blind. What Thatch does is it says, hey, let's do it different. Let's reinvent the world. The people who make crap, you just go ahead and send it to the retailer, and when they use our software, the moment they swipe, that means the brand and the retailer will automatically get paid. Now, the benefit of doing that is now there's a free flow of data. How long was it on the shelf? How long did it take to sell? What zip codes was it selling in? And the brand can say, shoot, we would have done way better financially if we had made 50,000 more of these, or looks like we made too many of these. Data will change the entire world. So Thatch is designed to do this, and here's the cool thing. Thatch charges 10% roughly of what everyone else is selling their stuff for, but because the data is so useful and because they're not waiting months to get paid, they're getting paid instantaneously, people are stoked about it, signing up left and right. This company in year 3 is projected to have $250 million of revenue and $3 billion valuation. This company over the next 7 years could literally have a $100 billion valuation because a couple of large brands like Home Depot or Walmart, they use split pay, but the medium brands, the small brands, no one has gotten their hands on split pay yet. Thatch is the first one to bring it to market, and we have hundreds of companies lined up that are super excited to sink their teeth into it. This company right here, this is what is definitely going to create, for me, even privately, personally, definitely a $1 billion payday. Now, one of the things that's really cool about these deals is that I have participation to help them really grow. For example, property, I've got all of my social media and real estate teams that I can sick on that. When it comes to Thatch, I used a lot of my company space and my infrastructure and my accounting teams and et cetera. I've moved them in. I'm personally working with them on that. So when I say that I launched 10 companies with $1 billion plus potential a year, I'm heavily involved in each one of them, including this third one. This one is called Fortify. And this is my private consult for equity company that by 2027 is slated to achieve a $1.8 billion potential outcome. Fortify is a business consulting company that connects business owners with top-tier business minds, unlocking growth potential and ultimately accelerating success. Scaling a small business is hard, and many business owners rightly seek support. I get hit up probably 50 times a week in my inbox alone with people just saying, hey, here's my company, I need some cash, or I want you to sit on my board, or can you help me figure out how to run my company? I'm going to find at least 500 small guys where I'm like, hey, I don't really want to negotiate 30, 40, 50% of your company and help you grow it. But what I will do is I'll make myself and all of my business advisors available to you. I'll give you a business coach that is no longer the operator, they're the owner. And they're also 8 figures in their results with their company as far as revenue annually goes. So here's a qualified coach. Here's my 30 top business advisors. Here's me. And now we're at your disposal. And on top of that, we'll train up your management team and provide leadership training for them and a few other things. This is pretty exciting because I conservatively forecast serving 10,000 clients by year 5 with an average MRR of $7,500. In other words, this is just a massive continuity program, creating incredible value for business owners. Check it out. All of these companies are really exciting, but the reality is I'm finding 10 per year. I found 10 last year. I'm gonna find 10 next year. And there's a way that you can get your hands on these deals. Remember, private equity is where people become filthy, filthy rich. And I'll house it in a place called my private Kris Krohn Investors Club. With my Investors Club, these investment opportunities and many others are presented to you with expert help. Basically, I give you access to exclusive events, personal access to me, my cell phone. We can partner on real estate deals, business deals. It's basically an instant network of financially savvy investors. And my Investors Club is the ticket to mass fortunes, but with a whole lot less time. So check it out. If you have $100,000 or more between your 401ks, IRAs, equity in a home savings or anything like that, you're like, shoot, I'm not happy with how my money's growing, but if I could put it into 10 different potentially $1 billion plus plays, literally partner with Kris Krohn, work with him, learn how to evaluate these deals, get into the private equity game. If that's interesting to you, click the link below and there you can learn a little bit more about my Investors Club, because who knows, we literally together might be owning a dozen different companies together that have huge upside potential. If you will learn about that and a lot of the other investments that I make outside of real estate, click the link below, let me show you. Okay, Kris, I'm not sure I even really know what your whole blueprint is for how anyone you believe can become a billionaire. I wrote a book about it, and this is how billionaires become billionaires. If you want to see what the whole blueprint really looks like for building wealth and how people become billionaires, click right here and let me actually show you it right here in this video.